Hello everyone, how are you doing? Just checking the account there to make sure that I have gone live on the right one because it's been a little while since I've last come on and had a chat with you. Let's see if I can remember how to do this. My phone had a major update this morning, so yeah, we'll see how here or haven't seen my face for a while. My name's Eva. I'm the director of the Scottish Yarn Festival, the Scottish Wool Producers Showcase, and founder of our very own Scottish provenance yarn brand. I'm hoping, all going well, that we shall be going live with fellow festival organiser Sara from Yarningham. Have sent her a request. We have planned to do a live. So we'll just see because we know what connection issues are like. Tori, thank you. So yeah, it's red again as of today. The last time I dyed it red, it lasted one wash, despite the fact that it's permanent hair colour. So go figure. My perimenopausal hair is just doing whatever it wants at the moment. But yes, I'm trying to go back to the red. But it just like all our projects, it's a work in progress. It is definitely a work in progress. So are you there? Are you there? Yarningham isn't able to join. Okay, I didn't get a notification for that. That is really, really helpful. So we'll try again. Are you there, Sarah? Gonna have fun with this, aren't we? Hello, everyone. Oh, I'm just trying to find somewhere that we can get semi-decent light as well because I think we're about to have a storm out there. There we go. I'll just hold you back here.
Sorry, bit close to camera, am I? There we go. That's better. Oh
No,
dear.
no, we're good. Hello, Sarah, it's you.
Hello, how are we?
I'm doing okay. I've been out to get my hair done today. We'll see how long the red
Oh, it's a new
lasts this time.
colour.
It's a new colour. I'm back to red.
To red, the blonde is gone.
Well, you said that, but last time, a couple of months ago when I dyed it red, it lasted one wash,
Ah!
despite it being permanent hair dye. It's like it was all gone and I was blonde again. Like, what?
Okay, so that's a surprise for a Wednesday morning.
Let's just blame it on the perimenopause. I do not know what's going on with my hair. My hair
Yeah,
doesn't know what is
I mean,
going on with
that's
it.
what's currently going on with my hair. So, I've got little to say about that. Let's move on from the subject of
Let's
hair,
move on.
please.
This is not a hair
It's
podcast
not a hair
or hair
podcast. Here with
or
hair.
hair care Instagram chats. But yes, so people are joining in from both sides, which is lovely. I've just done a little introduction as to who I am, but if you
Oh,
are just joining, I'll go through it again. So my name is Eva. I'm the director of the Scottish Yarn Festival, the Scottish Wool Producers Showcase, and we also have our own Scottish Provenance Yarn brand, which is why I'm talking to you. Do you want
hello.
to introduce yourself,
Yeah, go on then.
or shall I introduce you?
I'll try. So my name's Sara, and I'm one of the co-founders of Yarningham Festival, which is an annual yarn festival held in Birmingham in the UK.
And it's happening soon, just under 6 weeks' time.
Yeah. Yes, 40 days and counting, I think. But yeah, it was 6 weeks on Saturday, so yeah, not long to go.
Not long to go. And how is that going, dare I ask? Because I know how these things go.
So today we've been, Eva will know this, me and my friends have been crying into Meta Business Suite,
It just had
scheduling.
a major update. It's not user friendly anymore when you're trying to schedule anything over 29 days and 20 minutes, is
It's
it?
not, it's never been friendly, but yeah, so we've been spending most of the afternoon kind of looking at things going, where's that menu gone? But yeah, so the new batch of adverts are all set to go. Should be running from today, so that's what. Yeah, and then just it's that ramping up of it's coming,
Mm.
it's coming, it's coming. So yeah, it's the lists get longer and longer, but so be it.
I mean, it really doesn't
No,
stop. I, I,
no.
I was going to say, I don't think your layperson understands when it comes to do a yarn festival and to do it on a big scale and to do it well and to be doing it for as long as you and I have been doing it. So this is part of what I love about our story is we started doing yarn festivals back in the day when there weren't really any
No.
yarn festivals in the UK. So 2016, we both set up yarn festivals in different parts of the UK,
Mhm.
and we are remaining few to have been doing it for that long.
Yeah,
Actually,
there's not I mean, there were some that come before us,
hmm
but yeah, out of those, probably, I think I remember doing. I think if I can remember my figures properly, but it is going back a little while now. I think when we did our research into Yarningham, into setting up the festival, there were 16 yarn festivals annually in the UK. 1 6, and I reckon
as
that.
many as that, because I thought there was only about six, but mine was supposed to be like a one-off thing anyway. So I wasn't really
I
out
think
there doing my research at that point.
we might have
The
had
big,
like,
the big kind of decent-sized
yeah,
ones, anyway.
yeah, but I think also we might have had slightly broader parameters to
Yeah,
Yarn Festival. We might have included some craft where yarn was
that would make
prevalent.
sense.
So yeah, now maybe when you say 6, now something says 8 to me, and then kind of another 8 where you would have people who were, say, maybe like knitwear designers, or people who dyed their own yarn but then made final products. We kind of took them into consideration as well, but like those kind of contemporary craft fairs that had that kind of stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah, not many. And I reckon, well, we say this as a joke, but yeah, there's pretty much a yarn festival every weekend these days.
Multiple. No, there's over 200 yarn festivals now in the UK.
Wow.
Yeah,
Okay, so yeah, that's changed.
I think because the definition of what a festival is
Yeah,
seems to have changed as
absolutely.
well, not just within our industry, but wider. It's like, oh, let's have a gathering of people. Oh, it's a
Yeah,
festival.
true,
It's no,
true, 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 true.
no. We digress slightly, but yes, you and I both started our yarn festival journeys back in 2016. Can you name them all? I want to see you, please.
No, no, Joe, I can't. That was 8 years ago. I can barely remember what happened last weekend, let alone 8 years ago.
I'm telling you, the last 8 years have aged me.
Yeah, I think a lot of people could say
Yeah,
that.
and I really, I wouldn't wish myself to be doing anything else, but I mean, we've been through it. You and I have been through it, and I think it's to our testament, because we should blow our own trumpets to an extent here. To have managed to get our festivals through Brexit and lockdown, and to still be going when we have seen some of the big ones like
Yeah,
Woolfest
yeah, yeah, yeah.
have been
Absolutely.
and gone, and you and I are still fighting for the survival of our events, still passionate about what we're doing, giving it our all day in, day out. Our partners, our family, our social life, everything kind of suffers to an extent because it is all consuming.
Yeah,
It is all consuming, and there's certain
absolutely.
bits that you can try and schedule with like the business suite and things, and then there's other things that you literally can't. You just need to deal with them when they come in, and when things go wrong, it'll be the things that you honestly didn't think would go wrong,
Oh no,
that you
never,
couldn't
never.
plan for going wrong,
The
will go wrong.
things that you plan to go wrong never go wrong, and the things that you really don't need to go wrong will always go wrong. But they're never in the right order, so it doesn't matter which way you split up your eggs. They're always in the wrong place at the wrong time. That's kind of, I don't know, with 20 plus years in events. Yeah, I've learned that
Yeah.
uh, kind of the hard way, I
So
suppose.
let's focus on that for a minute because part of what I love about Yarningham is that you always have 50% new businesses within your marketplace. But I mean,
Yes.
this is not your first rodeo with Yarningham. You've had all this experience, and I think this is why you and I also kind of get on so well. And it's that music industry background.
Yes,
So
yes.
do you want to tell people a little bit about that
Oh.
and why you are so damn good at what you do? Because you are.
So,
You are.
thank you very much. That's very kind. Look, she even said it on the internet, so you can't take it back.
It's there
Um,
forever now.
No, so I trained as a classical musician. I went to Birmingham Conservatoire and studied viola. And then I had some years kind of temping, but I basically worked, I've been either on a stage or behind a stage probably since I was about 9 years old, all in. So whether it's performing at the front as a musician, and then I've worked in theatre, in wardrobe, for dance companies, worked for film festivals, music festivals. I'm just an events lady, I suppose. I was going to say girl, but I'm not a girl anymore. And so, yeah, kind of over the past 15 years I've been freelance, and then before that I worked at an art centre, and was a program coordinator there. Before that I worked for an arts organisation as their general coordinator, and they were massively based around event stuff as well. So it's just been events. If there isn't a schedule for the thing, then I don't think I can do it. So it's, I suppose it just gives you I suppose the thing that lends itself from that into Yarningham is that most of the events that I work for and most of the organisations that I work for are all quite small scale, very really small teams. The biggest organisation I worked for was an art centre, and we probably only had like 30 employees, which for an actual art centre with a venue is nothing at all. We're used to working on really small teams, used to working on kind of DIY based events, I suppose, just people who kind of get up and do stuff, whether that's because of without funding or because of the things that they're doing are quite niche. Been taught by some of the best in their various kind of kind of iterations, and then also things like working at larger organisations as well. I worked for the Royal Ballet for a while, and that is a real eye-opener and absolutely changes your perspective on events when you're part of a much bigger organisation. But being small and being in charge is my kind of thing.
Yeah. So is there anything specific that you want to tell people about regarding Yarningham?
So you mentioned about the 50% marketplace, which I completely negated to answer in my last answer. So we set up Yarningham specifically with the intention that our marketplace would always be 50% new to us, and that was a kind of reaction to lots of yarn festivals where you would have pretty much the same exhibitor list year in, year out. Whilst there are festivals that do that so well, really, really well, we had no interest in doing that because there were other people who did it much better than we could. And also when we started out, we didn't really have those kind of big that big network really within the yarn industry. We didn't really know any dyers other than ones that we'd bought from previously or we were kind of following online. But the 50% marketplace was really because we wanted to ensure that if people were going to become returning customers and returning audience, that there was always something for them to explore and something new for them to find. And we also wanted Yarningham to be that place where new dyers, new businesses, new producers could try stuff out. So whether that was because it was their first actual show or whether they had new lines or had diversified in some way, that they needed somewhere to kind of test markets out, that Yarningham would be that kind of place that would foster kind of your new indie crush, your new indie yarn crush, we used to say. But we've kind of diversified. We're not just indie yarn anymore. So yeah.
I'm sorry for any sort of background noises we're hearing at the minute. Smeagol has decided she's going to have a wee kittenish moment or two.
Okay, cool. That's fine.
So if you're listening to headphones on or whatever and you're hearing crackling, I really can't
quite see if I can make it, but there's a cat sitting with his butt to me.
Yeah, I'm just wondering if I can. There she
Oh, nice.
is.
There she
Hey,
is.
Single, next to my guitar case. Yep,
Lush.
there we go.
Yeah. So yeah, so that was kind of our things, and also that there weren't any shows in the Midlands when we started out. There had been previous shows, but they'd kind of fallen by the wayside for various reasons. So yeah, the bit about the marketplace was absolutely from the get-go. It wasn't something that evolved, it was something that we purposely put in place.
And it works. It's
Yeah.
definitely, I think, like a real sort of USP
Yeah.
for Yarningham. But you're not just a marketplace, and to me, this is kind of what makes a festival.
Mm-hmm.
It should never be a marketplace, she says, even though I've had to condense things because we've had
Yeah.
to change it. We've had a not so much a last minute venue change, but we lost our venue and all these things. But we're not here to talk about me today, and there are other things that we will be revealing.
Yeah. Oh
On our
yeah.
program release on the 29th that you know about, but we're not going to muddy the waters in that. We're here to talk about you, but you've got your marketplace of what, maybe is it 30 vendors,
It's
40
about
vendors,
30, 31, 32 vendors
31 this year.
downstairs. We've since diversified our marketplace. So we now have what we call our first floor designer showcase. And that's a kind of widening of the parameters of what we would usually include within our marketplace. So this is a place for kind of yarn and stitch adjacent stuff, we call it. So whether that's designers with kits, those that make kind of maybe smaller scale things, and by that I mean smaller price points, stuff that maybe taking a stand in our marketplace would be a big financial risk for them. And then also things like other kind of stitch based crafts, so whether that's cross stitch, weaving, things like punch needle, that kind of stuff. And that's our first floor designer showcase, and this year it's the after, so we've done it once, we've kind of doubled in size upstairs, which is actually amazing. I'm really excited about upstairs. There's some really brilliant stuff going to be up there, and we've also got some pop-up shop kind of rooms. So one of our exhibitors, Eden Cottage Yarns, will be taking over a whole room upstairs, and also one of our designers, Knit One Kits, will also be taking over a whole room. And then Jeanette Sloan from Under Her BIPOC in Fibre kind of guys will also be setting up a pop-up shop. So there's, if you don't come upstairs, you've missed half the show. And yeah, they're really excited about the first floor designer showcase. We think we've really pulled it out of the bag this year. Then we have, so part of our program, we have a yarn swap this year. So it's something we've tried to do a couple of times, but we've never really kind of we tried to do one in a pop-up shop we did last year, but had some real issues on the day because the weather was absolutely terrible, and there was no way I would have left the house if I didn't actually have to go and work in the shop. There was no way I would have been going to the yarn shop. But we've paired up with our local K&C Guild and our local Weavers, Spinners and Dyers Guild as well to foster a yarn swap. So this is a way of getting new stuff without actually buying anything. Everybody's got that scheme, that maybe it was a present, maybe it's something you bought online which wasn't quite what you thought it was, maybe it's not the right fibre content, or it's a weight of yarn that you never really use. Bring it along. Members of the WSD and the K&C will kind of appraise things and just make sure that no one's swapping, say, you know, silk for cotton or 500 grams for 2 mini skeins, just making sure that they're kind of fair and equal, and swap something. I know I've got lots of stuff where maybe I bought it quite early on in my kind of knitting career 20, 30 years ago, and I've literally never used. They're still in bags from shops that no longer exist. And then also things where I bought some roving, some kind of like loosely spun roving, and was going to dye it. And here we are, 20, I think I worked out 24 years later. It has been sat in a box ever since. So that the yarn swap is very much I think there's a really good thing, you know, it's all very well being able to go out and buy stuff and buy new stuff. And there is something about maybe, you know, just consuming is never a good thing. So basically also like how to change up your stash or how to reinvigorate your stash without actually spending any money. K&C and the WSD will also be doing demonstrations, which is a really big part of what we do. And so will lots of our exhibitors, and especially upstairs in the first floor designers showcase, a lot of those designers and producers will be demonstrating their crafts whilst you're there. You'll be able to have a go, be able to interact with them, be able to ask them questions, all of that kind of stuff. What else have we got? We've got a knit repair workshop. Our workshop program has gone through the ringer this year, but the knitwear mending class is pretty much sold out. Actually, I think there's only 3 spaces left, which is incredible.
That's great.
We never ever, even, you know, workshops are a really, really hard sell and are very difficult to get off the ground.
Difficult. It's really, really difficult. We've just kind of really stopped doing classes and workshops, to be honest, because even pre-pandemic, we'd lose money every single time that we do one.
Absolutely.
And it's costing more and more to put on events. And there's only so much that you can charge vendors or charge in the door. For me, this is my full-time job, and you know what? I deserve to earn a living out of what I do because I put more than full-time hours every weekend to it. You also deserve to get financial remuneration for what you do, and it's getting that balance. So when you're competing against so much free content on YouTube, and it's totally up to those creators and businesses and tutors to kind of put out that way, but you just can't compete when you've got to do venue hire, the insurance on that workshop or that event yourself.
Travel,
you've got your vendor fee, you've got your your tutor fee, depending whether they're coming from. You're going to have tutor travel expenses, potentially parking expenses. You might have accommodation for them. You've got lots of materials, what PayPal's taking off as well.
How do you make sure everybody gets paid, essentially, without everybody paying, you know, 300 quid for a workshop? So it does that.
It's so hard. It's really hard getting that balance so that you're doing that and you're almost got a sold out workshop. I really, you know, that is fantastic. Fantastic news, because it's a risk every single time that you decide to go ahead with something like that on your program.
So that's really good news. This kind of, with still 6 weeks to go, that's absolutely brilliant news.
That's amazing, yeah.
And then I suppose the most important part of our program, even more important than the marketplaces, because I ain't going to a yarn show now unless they've got decent cake. And I'm just really sorry, and I'm not going to call people out on it, but I've been to so many yarn shows where you've spent, you know, a couple of hours walking around, you've had some lovely chats with everybody, and you're really depleted, and you just want to sit down for a bit, maybe have a drink or a cup of tea, cup of coffee or whatever, and some kind of sugary goodness. And I emphasize the word goodness to kind of recharge your batteries and see if you can either go back out there or to share your purchases with anybody. But cake is really, really important to us at Yarningham, and this year we have pulled it out of the bag. So we have got quite the coup this year. It's a organisation called Lil's Parlour. It's run by a lovely lady called Lucy, who actually runs the only pay-as-you-feel bakery in the UK. It's based here in Brum. She set it up because she really believes that everybody deserves a treat, and just because you don't have much disposable income, or just because you don't have much money, or, you know, things are just tough at the moment, why should you not have a lovely treat, you know, maybe at the end of the week, or something to give your kids, or that kind of thing. So she set up this pay-as-you-feel bakery. She's an amazing baker, so much so that she's baked a cake that Prue Leith, as in yes, that's Prue Leith from the Bake Off,
Oh.
has tasted and said was amazing. So, and we all know that Prue doesn't give out. If you watch Bake Off, Prue doesn't give out plaudits at all. She's very polite, but she doesn't say things are amazing if she doesn't think that they are. So she's that kind of level of baker, and she will be running our cake store for us. Unfortunately, it won't be pay as you feel because she now runs a community larder as well. So it's a bit like a food bank, but you don't need a reference or a referral to use it. It is just so that they can ensure that they can provide for everybody. There are limits on the numbers, but you basically become a member and then you can shop at this community larder, which has all kinds of things, not just food, toiletries, household items, that kind of thing, at much less than supermarket prices. And we all know that there are far too many people out there struggling at the moment and unable to pay bills, unable to put food on the table. And this is just another brilliant project that's just trying to address this shortcoming. So any money that you spend at the cake stand this year will be going to pay for this community larder. Lucy also does loads of educational projects with kids, basically around demystifying food and ensuring that the next generation of kids learn to love their food, can cook for themselves, are self-sufficient, but also what's the education around nutrition and those kinds of things, and that sometimes it is quite good to eat vegetables as an adult and all of that, and but also that food can be fun, food can be interesting, doesn't have to be boring, doesn't just have to be you've got to eat all of these greens. So she does lots of workshops around, in like half term and summer holidays with kids at kind of community centres, play groups, those kinds of things. She's an incredible lady, and it is we really had to kind of lay out the red carpet to tempt her in. But yeah, we're really pleased to have her. Unfortunately, because of her restrictions in her kitchen, she can't do any kind of specialist diets. So, but we will have food from our normal bakery for vegan and gluten-free diets as well. So unfortunately, Lil can't cover those things because she'd need a kitchen the size of, well, just something much bigger than she has right now. But we always cater for both vegan diets and gluten-free diets at Yarningham, because in the same way that everyone, even if you haven't got enough money to pay for cake, you should be able to have nice cake. Just because your body doesn't like gluten doesn't mean that you don't deserve to eat something nice. So
Yeah. Yeah. I'm just going to scroll back for a minute. Someone made a comment regarding sort of workshops and just use local tutors. And in theory, yes. However, you need to find somebody relatively local who has the skills and also has the following.
the
And
drawer as well.
the draw, when you're dealing with events at the scale that you and I are, that if it's a complete unknown, no one's paying for that class regardless. That's not me trying to be nasty or whatever, but with yarn festivals, people expect a name that they know,
They
um,
want that, and
and
also
a portfolio that already exists. And
from
yeah,
bitter experience as well. We tried that in our first year with we had 2 local workshop tutors and 2 non-local, and even though the techniques that they were exploring, the actual content of the
yeah,
workshop was something that we knew our audience were asking for. The bookings on both of those workshops with local tutors were really low because they just didn't have the following that our audience expects. I think also people are quite people want a name that they can trust. If you're going to
yeah.
spend 20, 30, 40, 50 pounds, potentially even more to put
65, 70.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly, on you're going to spend a lot of money. People kind of want that reassurance of almost like a brand name, someone that they've heard of before, someone that they've seen maybe doing stuff at other events, people that they know have a certain kind of following. You're absolutely right. I'd love to just use local tutors, that'd be great.
Yeah,
But
and for us as well now, there are so many other Scottish-based events that basically would all end up using the same tutors anyway,
Yeah, that's
and
very
potentially
true.
be at different price points as to whether you're able to get funding for your event or
Yeah,
not. We
yeah,
get absolutely no funding at all for a business. Um, yeah, yeah.
not
So
yeah, it's not
you then can't discount, and everyone needs to be paid and should be paid at level for
oh,
their skill.
absolutely,
Anyway,
absolutely. Doesn't
tutor
matter
fees are never negotiable.
yeah.
But if you've got somebody who is at that point unknown that you're bringing in to do a class, why wouldn't someone just go on YouTube and watch the most high rated video on YouTube for whatever they'd be doing anyway? So not to put a dampener, but just to kind of, I thought it was important to kind of go back and just explain a little bit about how that works.
Yeah, it's not.
Yeah, yeah. In
You
an
know,
ideal
people,
world,
yeah,
yes, but that is not what people, that is
no,
not what
unfortunately,
attendees to an event want.
it's not what people actually want.
No,
You know, the difference between what people say that they want and then
what
their
they'll
actual
actually pay
actions
for.
are quite different. So whilst good intentions of saying that, you know, people will book for a local workshop tutor, that's just not true.
They won't, unless it's like a really small, so like I think we've had an occasion sort of like a local stitch group or whatever, and there might be somebody who's maybe holidaying in the area or something, or one of them has learned something new, and we'll get you to kind of do it, and they're maybe getting the discounted rate in a small village hall or somewhere, because no one's actually running it as a business. You don't have those business expenses as such
Yeah,
anyway, so
true.
that's how you can do it at that. But when you've got large scale yarn festivals, it,
Yeah, people want
it's someone who's already got to be already well established with a portfolio.
absolutely,
Um, and saying that, I mean, your inbox and my inbox is always open. You
absolutely.
know,
Yeah, yeah, please do
generally,
get in
I
touch
think
if there's
you
something
might
you
be
think.
similar to me. I mean, we try and keep our finger on the pulse of everything that's happening out in yarn world. For me, that's part of why what I do as a full-time job is
Mhm.
staying on top of it and finding out what's going on and maintaining the networks that have already got those relationships, building new ones. But we can't be aware of everyone. So, email us. Because I'm
Please
approached
do.
all the time about classes and presentations and things like that. And usually it's, hi, I can do this. And that's where it kind of and that's literally the content of the email. And it's like, thank you for reaching out. Where can I find you online? Have
Yeah.
you got a portfolio? Do you have a schedule of classes and sorts of things that you could cover? How, what sort of things would you cover in that class? What sort of length of time? How many bodies can you get within that? What are your tutor fees?
Mhm.
All those sorts of things. If you approach an event with all that, that is really, really helpful. And don't be put off when someone says, not this year, because you and I are usually scheduling what, 12 to 18 months in advance?
At least 12 months in advance. So,
Yep,
yeah,
yep. Because we have to for certain things. So don't be put off when we tell you if you're contacting us 2 weeks before, 4 weeks before, 8 weeks before. Oh, hiya. Absolutely not at that
no,
point, no. But if you send us all that information
we
and present
have
it
it on
to
file.
us like that, we add that to file. We've got that. We know of you. And when we get a moment to draw breath, we will go and look at all your stuff online
Mhm.
and potentially reach out to you again in
Yeah,
the future, or if we know of somebody who's looking for something.
that's also the thing, that kind of passing
Yeah,
on network is really important as well.
absolutely.
Kind of, I've been that kind of informal sharing, I think, is really important, and that kind of how things get passed on, really. So yeah, reach out to either one of us, but yeah, all of the above, basically. If you can shorten the email conversation by putting most of your information up front, that
Absolutely.
that
It's
makes
so
it
helpful.
so much easier.
So, so helpful.
Yeah.
So, sorry, we went off on a tangent there, but I thought it's really important
Mm-hmm.
to kind of explain a little bit
Where
as to why
yeah,
why we do it. And what we do is, it might not appear to be a very creative thing, but it's a very creative experience. Even
uh,
curating a yarn event and
yeah.
all the different sort of strands that come into
Think it's
that.
about how I think
Mm.
it's a bit like So I'm going to use a musical analogy here, and I think it's a bit like being a conductor. That
Yes.
the bit that you see is the end of a very, very, very long journey. So, most people would say, what's a conductor doing up there, waving their arms around, turning over a piece of paper? But that's literally like the cherry on the top of the cake. They get to kind of live out their best fantasies. Where a conductor's real work is either putting together the program of works that the orchestra will play, but then in the rehearsals of molding that orchestra to play that piece, how you envisage it and how you see it, how the conductor sees it. So that's kind of what my job as putting together Yarningham is that, between Helen and myself, we're kind of, getting the strings to work together, kind of saying to the cellos, no, I don't want it that prominent there. Can we look at the bowing on this? Can we look at the phrasing on that? And then, the actual festival is the kind of performance, and you'll see us we don't get to just sit and wave our arms. We're actually then switch from being a
Yeah.
curator into being kind of an event producer, and running the actual festival as it is there, like a bit like behind the scenes, making sure all of the levers are in the right place, making sure that people go on at the right times, all of those kind of things. My analogy's really gone to pot here, but that's kind of
No,
what
yeah.
that's kind of what it's like, which is why the whole kind of 12 to 18 months in the run up is so important, because that's when most of the work is done, when most of the plan that you put together, that you then eventually most likely throw out of the window on the morning of the actual festival, and then grapple around for all the other, to pick up all the other bits. But yes, that lead in, that kind of 12 months of, whether it's starting off like we did this year with a plan of what we wanted to do, and then kind of finding people to make that a reality,
Yeah.
or like you've done this year with applications, opening up applications, starting that process, opening up applications, and then having to sort through those, and trying to put something together from those people that
Yeah.
have applied, and then adding your bits on as you see fit. Yeah, it's a long road. It's a long
It,
road.
it is, and it doesn't seem to have any schedule. So I'm working with a lot of people in the US these days for different parts of the business. So you're dealing with completely different time zones
Mm-hmm.
and having to deal with that. I was out last night at a meeting that began at 6 o'clock at night that I had to get into the town for. And just all those sorts of things. It's not a normal 9 to 5 job, although I'm trying to get better
No, no,
at
not.
doing 9 to 5 during office hours, and then we chill out at the weekends as much as we possibly
Yeah,
can, and have that for ourselves and our loved ones, because it's a marathon and not a sprint.
absolutely. That is a very good phrase to use. It is a marathon. There's no way that you would, especially with kind of these annual events, things
Mm.
that happen, once a year. You've got such a short space of time to kind of condense everything into, a marketplace, a showcase, demonstrations, workshops, a yarn swap, food vendor, all of that kind of stuff. You've got to make it happen within 48 hours. It's a magic trick, essentially, and it's the thing of being able to kind of, whether it's pivot or change, or basically find a solution and then realize that that's actually not the best solution, or not the way that that's going to work. So then having to reinvent, remold, recast, it's
Mhm.
just, yeah, a
While
marathon,
while
not
you're working with
yeah,
people.
with actual people, real people.
Real people, yeah, yeah. It's yeah, it can be challenging. It can be really, really challenging. So the reason that I've kind of invited you onto my internet space socials today, although I will invite you to be, I think it's a collaborator or something
Yeah.
these days, and I'll add it all to the different places, was to give our following a bit more information about
Yeah.
Yarningham, Birmingham, what it is that you do. But it's not just totally out the goodness of my heart, despite the fact that I absolutely love you to bits and I've been down to your festival and you've come up and supported us in person and everything. But I'm going again, but actually as a
Yay!
vendor, actually as a vendor this year. So if you can't make your way up to the Scottish Yarn Festival, or you follow us from somewhere else in the UK,
Yeah, we're
and
very
Birmingham is
central.
more accessible for you, come and meet me. I'm going to be part of what we've been calling the Scottish contingent. So
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
expecting bagpipes, and I want to be showered in shortbread and all the other
we
stereotypical things, please.
will not disappoint. I will pack my kilt.
Please do,
Yeah.
please do.
So we've got Celia McWheely, we've got Callock Chick Ellen, Blue Dot Yarn is going to be my booth babe. We are all coming down from different places in Scotland. I am there as the Scottish Yarn Festival, but with our very own Scottish provenance yarn brand. I'd like to be piped in, please. Shall I just pack my saxophone and like do some sort of Scottish tune? Would that do? Will that do?
I'm not sure. I mean, ask Jo. She's asking, so she'd like to be piped in. I mean, if anybody can take pipes at whatever o'clock in the morning that you lot all set up, then go with it. But I do expect you. I do expect some kind of, whether it's. I'm trying to think of like, I don't know. You're playing. Oh, my mind's gone blank for Scottish bands now.
Runrig,
Jo says
Brighton's
no
Rabbit,
bagpipes or
um,
nothing.
original Snow Patrol, no bagpipes or nothing, right?
Yeah.
So we'll digress a wee bit. I had a very, very proud moment the other night. I don't know about you, but usually if you've got an interest in one sort of textile thing, you've got an interest in another. So I watched the Dior Cruise
Ah.
2025. I watched it live. I felt very proud because it was being broadcast live for about 20 miles away from where I live.
No way.
Yeah, at Drummond Castle and Gardens. We
Oh,
actually previously did, we worked together with a tour company, and you could actually go to a tour to that
oh
destination because
really?
it's been
Oh my
used
God.
for Outlander and things. So you could do that before coming to our festival. I've never been myself, so it's on the outskirts of like Crieff,
Okay.
but it is still quite close by. It's in Perthshire. I think the last time Jor came up and did anything in Scotland, it was also in Perthshire. It was at Glen Eagles. But I watched it live, and it was wonderful to watch some of the run up and watch it and go, this is happening on our doorstep.
Yeah.
And there was a lot of tartan and plaid and argyle patterns and all sorts. It was Scottish without being kind of like the twee Scottish, which it
Mm.
can be really, really funny, don't get me wrong. But it was like you would expect, Dior. It was
Beautiful, beautiful.
absolute perfection, and I
I'm
was
gonna go
watching
watch
so
it.
many of the pieces going, I would wear that.
Yeah.
I,
So
I,
the
I
ones that
absolutely
usually.
would wear it. Stunning, stunning pieces. But as I was watching it and towards the end, they did actually have a procession of pipers. So they started off with a female piper coming in wearing Dior, leading them in, and they're actually walking down the staircases in the castle, and it's in the actual gardens.
Wow.
That's where the show was done. It will be on YouTube and on their socials and stuff. Honestly, people, please go and do yourselves a favour, go and have a look. But I had a wee moment just towards the end when they had this full-on procession of pipers and they were coming in and playing it, and I went, oh, it's Ross! And it's like, it's Ross. He's like, I know him.
So you do know a pipe.
And for and I put something on my own social media with expletives afterwards, of screenshots that I taken as I was watching it, going, "Oh my, I'm so proud of you, Ross."
Brilliant.
How amazing it
Fantastic.
is, like from Snoop Dogg to Dior. So that clip from a year ago is still being recycled
And
when
so is
Snoop
it
Dogg
him
came
that
in.
does the Snoop Dogg thing at the airport? No, you do not know that guy. You do not know
And
that
I
guy.
know
Oh, he's
Ross.
brilliant.
Yeah,
That's fantastic.
he,
That's
he
amazing.
he's relatively local and he's amazing. And I knew him before he was famous. And it's like, yeah, from Snoop Dogg to Dior. It's like, can I pack Ross Ainsley in my suitcase and bring him?
Bring him down, especially if he's just going to play Snoop Dogg. I love that. I
I
love that
know.
version.
A little
Absolutely
side,
brilliant.
he's just had some sort of crowdfunding thing close where he successfully managed to raise the 20 grand that he needs to produce the brand new album. I think they've literally got everything already recorded,
Perfect.
but for the mixing and production and costs and everything, and to have it as a physical product as well as a digital one. They
Yeah,
were
so
needing this
expensive these
money,
days.
and he smashed his target.
Brilliant.
So proud
Hopefully
of
Snoop
him.
put some money in as well, I reckon.
I would hope so, but
I
he
would have
kept it
thought.
all so quiet. As I saw the whole Snoop Dogg thing live, and it's like everyone was tagging him in and making comments. It's so hilarious. But to see that moment
Yeah,
with the whole GR Cruise
beautiful.
show, and then to see somebody that you actually know being involved in it as well, and having the music side, because I'm a music graduate as well. I think we spoke about your musical background. I've got that, and we've got those tie-ins, and I think that is also what makes us good at what we do, having that musical training
Yeah, there's
and the
something
involvement
about
in that industry too.
there's something about a music education that's a really good
Yeah.
set up for life. I don't know. There's I think I know lots of people who obviously did music kind of growing up or
Mm.
whilst I was at conservatoire, and made a lot of the people who went to conservatoire then obviously went on to be
Yeah.
musicians, but a lot of the people I knew when I was a kid who played music aren't necessarily working as musicians or even really in the music industry in any real way. But I do think it gives you some really good tools that you don't really get. I think some kind of arts background
Yeah.
really does that kind of critical thinking, and also but as a performer, there's something. It does give you that kind of little bit of confidence that is, I don't know.
And
It's
resilience.
possible to teach, and kind of like learning it through an instrument is really good.
Mhm.
But yeah, I have very little. Someone said that to me like a while ago, that I'm not really phased by anything. I think if you can get up on a stage and play something, badly or even actually quite well, it does take like real kind of it does take a real thing to do it. People think it's really simple, but anybody who's been on a stage will tell you that
No.
mind goes blank, your heart starts racing, your palms are sweaty, all of a sudden you can't kind of like your mouth is dry, and you feel kind of really on edge, like you've had 7 coffees, even though you haven't. And then to actually take that breath and do it, and you're a wind player, so that's even more difficult because you've actually got to control your breathing.
I do.
I just, I just scrape away. I could be hyperventilating behind my viola, and it wouldn't really affect my performance that much. But yeah, as a wind player, you've got to actually control your
Yeah,
breath,
front
not just
line. You've got to move, and you're doing backing vocals as well, and the whole shebang. And I
yeah,
love
so
it. I love it, and I'm back into it as well.
oh,
I've been getting
good
back
for
into it.
you.
Yeah.
But yeah,
So yeah,
it does give you something to kind of draw upon, I think,
just
definitely. And
discipline, resilience,
yeah,
a
yeah,
different creative mindset, a way of feeling and reflecting,
exactly.
and just so many of those things.
Yeah, it's something, a
But
lot of it's quite
yeah.
intangible and quite difficult to put your finger on. But yeah, that
Mhm.
kind of, but also that thing of knowing that there's that thing of a kind of like, you can always be better, there's always something more to find, there's always another level to go to. But it doesn't really matter that you can play that thing note perfect. There's always something more to find. Which is what my viola teacher used to tell me. There's something
Yeah,
else in there. Can we find something else in there?
you're
Off
only
we go.
you're only ever as good as your last
And
performance.
that's the other bit as well. Yeah, no one's. Well, I don't know. Maybe if you're like the Rolling Stones, people are like, "Oh yeah, that album you did in 1973 was amazing." But yeah, you're only as good
Yeah.
as your performance, and the next. And that's the point. Is there's always, even though that performance was the best performance of your life, there's just something more to find. You can go somewhere else with it. Yeah. That constant striving, I think, is something that I learned as a viola player, that there's no such thing as perfection. It's just it's not possible. It's never
No.
attainable. You
But
just
but
have to keep.
Yarningham's pretty close.
Yeah, I mean, we try. We try. It's no, I mean, this is the point. Is I see it from the inside, so I see every little. It's like
Yeah.
when you finish it's like when you finish your last your last knitting or crochet project. You can see every tiny little mistake or idiosyncrasy in it. Everybody else is marveling at this creation that you've made, and you can see all the kind of tiny things, or and also that thing of what happens behind the scenes isn't always necessarily visible to our audience, but yeah, you know exactly what's going on. So there's always so much to keep improving, keep doing more, keep trying to get better rather than get perfect, because never going to get there. And I think that striving for actual perfection that's a lost cause. What you need to just do is just be better than, like you said, be better than the last one.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's hoping that this one is the best. Yes, yet. We're really we're very excited actually. Having had a year off has been a real whilst was really lovely in some ways. It was also really not lovely in other ways. But yeah, that was kind of given us a real impetus to kind of make sure that this one is the best one yet. So do come along. We're
Tickets are on sale.
Yeah,
They are on
tickets are on
sale now.
sale. It's cheaper to buy your ticket in advance than it will be to buy your tickets on the door. You also get not preferential treatment, but you'll get a preferential queue for you. So yeah, everybody that pays on the door has to wait until all of our ticketed people have gone through. £9.50 in advance plus booking fee available from our website yarningham.co.uk. Follow the link in my bio if you'd like to buy tickets, and hopefully we'll see you in about 6 weeks' time.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. So looking forward to it. Feel really privileged in that you've done things a bit different this year. You didn't open the vendor application
No,
process. So all the vendors have been specifically invited.
yes, it's been a
Um,
real. We just decided to kind of go back to our first event where we did invitations, and we found that whilst the application process it just brings you a completely different type of person, and that's not what we were looking for this time. We really wanted to, mainly this was around the diversification of the marketplace, so ensuring that first of all marketplace was kind of bigger and better than it has been before, and also had a kind of a wider breadth than it did, and we wouldn't be able to ensure those kinds of things if we'd open our application. So we went with inviting people, which whilst it sounds easier is just different. It's just the same. It's just as hard. It's just much more difficult to do,
yeah.
especially when you've got 50% new to you throughout all of that. So yeah, it wasn't like we could just invite all the same people that we'd had in 2022. We also needed to keep searching for those new people, keep looking, like you said, keeping your finger on the pulse in the yarn world is kind of part of our job as well.
Yeah.
So finding out those new people, and seeking them out, seeing what they're doing, and then obviously tempting them to come to Yarningham as well, and getting diaries aligned, all that kind of stuff. Yeah, it's a marathon, not a sprint. I'm gonna get that on a t-shirt for the weekend.
Yeah.
Yarningham, it's a marathon, not a sprint.
It's definitely one of those mantras that I live
Yeah,
by.
totally.
And every time that I'm organising events, sort of reminding myself of that. And I think with some events are, as soon as one is finished, are almost immediately announcing, and this is our lineup for the following year. We've already had everything open. It's like, you don't need to do that. Each to their own.
Yeah.
We used to have long lead times, but it's like a lot has changed since the pandemic.
Yes.
And with me, with the running 2 events in a year now, and I've got to make sure that they've both got, because they do both have a very different identity. I don't want people getting confused as to who's going to be at each one as well. A lot, a lot's changed, but a marathon, being a marathon and not a sprint's the same. Joan, it's so looking forward to seeing you again. I have, I have used your yarn from last time I saw you.
And Joey, just want to ask Joe a question. Are you practicing your lunging? Because don't forget, when we're at Yarningham, when we lunge. So Joe and I have a lunge off every year at Yarningham. She's actually, I think Joe's the only exhibitor who's ever done all of the Yarninghams. Yeah, I think she's the only one. So she's like, she's quite the thing. Yeah, she did. In fact, the very first Yarningham, I think, was her very first show. So we actually started at the same
Like
time. So I've
lead
got a lot of
violin,
Joe in the room.
lead violin in your orchestra.
Yes, she probably is actually. She probably is our first violin.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
Oh,
are my first chanto ever. It's true. Oh. I think every time I kind of always forget that, and then every time I'm reminded of that, it always makes me feel so proud that she chose
yeah.
us, or we chose her actually, because that first year, yeah, we did that was the only time we did invitations only, other than this year. So yeah, that's quite the thing. Oh, oh,
I
Joe,
think,
looking forward to
you know,
seeing
that is
you.
such a lovely way to kind of wrap it
Mhm.
up, I think. So, yeah, if you've been sitting on the fence, you've been unsure, go get your advance tickets now, because there are only a certain amount of advance tickets. Get them from yarningham.co.uk, or once it's taken a wee moment or two to kind of upload this, although it's going to be in all the places. So if you're watching this on YouTube, I will put a link in the doodly doo, as they say, in the down bar. On Facebook, I should be able to provide actual links to Yarningham,
Mhm.
Instagram. Cheers for just making everything so difficult. Go to Yarningham physically. I know that we're so used to just having a thing, but we can't unless you're watching this on Yarningham's social
Yeah.
media,
There's a
on
link in our bio for
your
tickets.
Instagram,
Tickets
because
right
you will
there.
then be able just to kind of click. But I should be able to tag you in it, so that will make the step one step easier. Words. Yes, we'll do the thing. I've been peopling a lot today, can you
Yes.
tell? Yeah. But I'm so looking forward to
Yeah.
coming down. Thank you for inviting me with my other business
No, I know.
thing going
I'm
on.
knitting with your
Um,
yarn at the moment. So
Very-
yeah. I'm knitting. That's my current project right next to me.
Ooh,
It's a lace cardigan, but it's a clinkly mess. But yeah, your yarn.
here it is.
Here it is. Doesn't look like much, but it will be. Maybe I'll finish it before the show. Maybe I won't. Probably not.
I think you should try. I know what it's like with your schedule and you're getting this close and there's all the things to do. But if you could, would be
Label.
much appreciated.
Knitting
Woo!
that. So yes, thank you very much. Yeah, so it's probably not going to be finished by then. I've still got quite a lot to do. But yeah, that's my current TV knitting. So yeah, so come along. It's beautiful to knit with, guys. Really, really crisp stitch definition. I don't know whether I can show you this, but even like unblocked lace, you're getting really amazing stitch definition. That is the worst camera work in the world. I'm sorry, internet, but yeah, it's fantastic. Lovely handle, beautiful colors.
Very proud of my baby,
Yes,
my child.
as you should be, as you
No,
should be. So hopefully we'll
I
see you all
should
next.
be.
Mm-hmm.
But I am bringing samples galore anyway. I've got a couple of people doing samples and things for me. Marta Mitchell Designs got a yarn drop today. Just before I came on live, she's like, it's arrived. She's going to do me a sample of the Perth beanie because
Oh,
I've
perfect.
tried so many times and I cannot crochet. I thought, ask for help.
Yes,
Ask for help. Marta,
definitely.
I would if I could, but I can't. Can you make me? So we're going to have a couple more crochet samples to bring down
Oh,
with us as well, because that's
perfect.
also important. I have collaborations that I can't talk about quite yet
Oh,
that
okay.
we'll be launching at the event. That's good. We're trying to put some kits together for a few
Perfect.
things. I might have my next mill drop arrive as
Oh,
well, because I got
perfect.
an email yesterday. It's not due until the 26th of July,
Right.
but it might be close to the bone. So, sacrifice that skein to the yarn goddess or something, that it does
Okay.
arrive in time, so
Okay.
that I do have the full complement of everything. That is the downside of what we're doing, and I'm learning all the stock management and But if my US flagship says that they want X amount of skeins, you better believe I'm giving them X amount of skeins because the people want what they want. But out there, but yeah, we're doing all those things, and I will because the timing should be okay. I will have our brand new tote bags
Ah, perfect as
with us
well.
as
Perfect.
well, and they will probably be debuting at Yarningham.
Ooh,
So if you want the brand new, in fact, we didn't do them since the rebrand.
no,
The Scottish Yarn Festival tote bag.
perfect.
Not going to
Yes,
tell you anything about them. You've seen the
I know
visual.
what they look
You've
like.
seen the visual. We'll have them. They're coming. So come get.
Yeah, please do.
Lots going on, and I think you've made either the genius move or the or the stupid move of putting all the Scottish contingent together in one area.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes down. You might be split up by Saturday night. We'll see.
We'll, we'll, we'll see. It'll be entertaining either way, even if it's just for
We'll be
us.
able to hear you, I'm sure. They'll be able to follow the pipes.
Hold the pipes. I'm going to have to see if I can find a piper
Come on.
now.
You got it. Or could you play one on your phone? Does that
It's not the
count?
same.
Joe, does that count if she plays it on a phone?
It's not the
No,
same.
maybe not. She's not going to say it's not the same.
No, I
Oh,
mean, I want to set off to a fanfare of like Duran Duran or Fuzzbox or Black Sabbath or something down the road. All those really stereotypical Birmingham bands.
I mean, play with Joe. No, Joe says no. No,
No.
phone's not good enough. Okay, we're working
I've
on
got
it,
five
Joe. But I have
and
got
a half weeks to come
information
up
on
with a
the rebrand
solution
as
to
well.
this.
We'll see. I'll see what I could. Must be so. I probably know someone who's a piper. I do, but she doesn't live here. She doesn't live in Birmingham. She lives in London. So yeah,
And if you're
maybe.
doing it, they need the full regalia as well. You can't just
Oh yeah.
rock up with set of pipes.
No. True. There is that. There is that. Right. Okay. Yeah. Join us 13th and 14th of July, Ofcom Centre. Tickets at yarningham.co.uk. It'd be great to see you all there. Thanks for
Yeah.
having me.
No, I wouldn't be anywhere else other than
A Greek
you.
island.
No, you could have got the dates slightly better because the National are playing in Edinburgh on the 11th, which is the day I'm going to have to travel down,
Oh
and
no,
I'm
I'm
absolutely
sorry.
gutted.
Sorry.
Who do I love more, Matt Berninger or Sara Fowles?
Oh, don't put
And
that's
it's
unfair. I can't compete with that. That's not fair.
so yeah, I'm basically missing the National for you unless I let the rest of the Scottish contingent go and beg everyone to help me set up my stall on the morning of. And
Wow.
I will rock up in whatever state that I'm in. It's still
There is
it's
that
it's
as
still
well,
up there. It's like you live once, people. You live. But
Okay.
yeah, I mean it is the hottest ticket in town. It's definitely the only place to be before the Scottish Yarn Festival then takes place. So yeah, yeah,
That's good
come,
to hear.
come down. It's going to be amazing.
Okay.
Thank you for inviting
No,
us.
no.
We're
Thanks for
collectively, we're
coming.
all really looking forward to it. King's Fiberfest, great talk. Thank you.
Thank
I think
you.
this is just like one of our telephone conversations. It's
Pretty
but
much. Less
colourful,
ranting, but
less
yeah, pretty
colourful.
much.
But no, it's going to be fabulous. If you haven't got your tickets, you need to get your tickets. You need to have yourselves a Yarningham experience because I've been to yarn shows on these shores, on further shores. Yarningham
Yeah.
is unique
Oh, thank
in
you.
what they do, in their personalities, and yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I'm
Right.
putting you before the National.
I know.
What
I
more
don't.
can I say? What
I
more can
really
I say?
actually don't know what to say about that. I think probably just say thank you and be grateful.
And
I think.
I might be reminding you of that all weekend.
Yes.
But yeah,
Okay. Okay. Okay.
okay.
All right.
Love you to bits. Thank you for your time.
Thanks
Thanks,
a lot.
everyone. I'll see you all later.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.